and then try to make them fall in love with you. And I became extremely boy crazy just to make sure that you have the right tampon. For my first kiss, oh my god, you want them to put a rubber on it.
And we are the worst.
Oh my gosh, I have a story time. Excuse me. Hi hotties, welcome to the sleepover where I wear a full face of makeup. The pink light is on, you know what's about to go down. I haven't done a little big sister chat in a while and I thought I would sit down and talk to you guys for a little bit. I asked you to ask me questions on my Instagram. I'm gonna pull them up on my iPad. I also looked back at my other girl talk videos and it's actually insane. I've been doing this series for so long and when I'm thinking about it, it feels like we're kind of growing up together, which I think is really sweet. The first things I want to talk about are dating and love, and I'm actually thinking of bringing in Martin later for a male perspective, I guess. Question number 1 is something that I got a lot, and it is how to deal with insecurities when you haven't dated anyone in high school / feeling incapable of love. Girl, I know exactly how you feel. I remember in high school with my little girly friends, and they would always have attention from boys, and I always kind of felt a sense of FOMO because I just wasn't getting it. Your girl wasn't pulling at all, and I felt so insecure about myself, and I started to feel like something was wrong with me. In my personal experience, the thing that hurt the most was when I would be walking around with my little girlfriends, looking super cute, having fun, and you see another group of teenage boys or whatever looking over, and your friends are talking to each other, being ooh, did they look at you? Did they look at me? And you always know that they're never looking at you because it never was you. And that made me feel really insecure about my looks and my personality. And especially when your friends are all pulling, it just feels so lonely, kind of helpless, because you can't really force someone to look at you or to like you. And it's just and I think all of this kind of built up into this really big thing for me. And I became extremely boy crazy. And it was just such a bad mindset to be in, because for me, when I was really, really boy crazy, it was because I was so insecure with myself and I was seeking validation from the male specimen to kind of fill that void of, feeling beautiful, feeling wanted, because I just didn't feel that at all for myself. I'm not saying that's how it is for everyone, but that's how it was for me. I was a little bit of a late bloomer when it came to kind of romance and kind of dating in high school. I wouldn't even say it was really romance or something super this is so passionate, all that stuff. Literally, if a guy looked at me for 3.1 seconds, he's in love with me, I'm in love with him, we have to make this work. And I think because my insecurities were so high, the bar I set, the standards for men, literally in hell, so low, because I would accept anything and everything, and I think that was really unfair to myself. I just craved the most minuscule amount of attention and validation, and I think a lot of this has to do with the media and how it treats teenage girls, because I think at least a lot of us, when we're watching movies, they're usually rom-coms, so the end kind of resolution is getting the boy, getting the popular guy, changing the bad boy, making him have a little soft spot for you. As I was in senior year, kind of approaching graduation, I think I felt really pressured to kind of fill that teenage dream, I guess. But now looking back, I've actually graduated high school, what was it, 5 years ago? Oh god, it's been 5 years. But really looking back on it, I know how it feels when you're in high school, that it feels like it's the end of the world and that's your entire life. But once you kind of get out of that, you realize that high school is such a small piece of your life. And you have to kind of think about the limited amount of people in high school and how many of them would actually be a good partner to you. High school is so small and the world is so big. So I think it is definitely okay if you haven't found your partner, the one, in high school, because what are the chances of your soulmate being in your tiny little high school, I'm here to tell you that you will find your person soon enough, and I think a lot of these high school boys, honey, they're not worth it. seriously. Okay, that was really long and I didn't even answer the question. But for me, the way that I kind of dealt with my insecurities, it's because I kind of felt the root of it. I knew that all of it stemmed from my really, really low self-confidence. So I threw myself in a hobby. I was actually a competitive dancer for most of high school, and that was really fun. I would literally just go after school, like dance for 4 or 5 hours and then do homework after. It was a lot. It was a big part of my life, actually. I really thought that I would be like a professional dancer by now, but here I am in my little room filming a little YouTube video. But I think with that, I kind of gained a lot of self-confidence and it made me make new friends. It also challenged my mind a lot, which I really, really value. So because I was focusing on that and trying to become a better dancer and just a better blah, 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 all that stuff, I think my confidence with myself grew a lot because I mean, yes, I was really insecure about my looks. At the end of the day, yes, you can get a little haircut, you can do your makeup a little bit different and feel more beautiful on the outside. But at the end of the day, I think all of it comes off and you're only there with your mind. I know I definitely sound so pretentious right now. I think kind of bettering yourself and feeling more confident with your personality is a lot more important because when you do get into that relationship, you don't want to kind of rely on your partner to kind of give you that validation. That really doesn't make sense at all, but I hope you got a little bit out of it. Oh my God, Suki, you look so smart right now. Little head. But the next one is, should I chase love or should I wait for it? And I think I kind of answered that a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think chasing can make you settle. And I think it can also lead to you making decisions that you wouldn't normally make. When I was chasing someone, I think I couldn't really tell the difference if I actually liked them or the idea of them, if I wanted just a partner or if I wanted them to be my partner. I would say wait for it, but you do you, sister. This question really makes me upset, and it is, why do guys ghost you after asking to make things official? Oh my gosh, I have a story time. So in college, I was kind of like dating this guy. I mean, we weren't like boyfriend and girlfriend. I thought we were really hitting it off, but at the same time, I had recently kind of gone out of a relationship, so I didn't really want to go into things full force. But he actually asked me to be his girlfriend, and I thought it wouldn't be fair to him if I wasn't 100% in, so I didn't tell him at the moment my answer. I told him I would think about it because, again, yeah, like I thought it would be fair if I like sat on it and really made the decision with a clear mind. I think it was honestly the next day where I said, okay, I think we can make this work. I think that we are good for each other. The second I say that, they're like, oh, okay. And then they text me later and he's like, oh, I don't think this is gonna work out. Huh? So you're telling me you 24 hours ago, oh my God, Jasmine, I think you should be my girlfriend. Later, and then you're gonna say no? And I was just so confused because what is going on? And I didn't think this was normal until I got this question. So I guess this is normal. I guess men are pieces of shit sometimes. I don't really understand the thought process, but my kind of idea is that sometimes guys think this is the game, like you're the prize, and once they have you, once they've reeled you in, they kind of completed their mission and they're done with you. So that's one of my theories. But now that I'm thinking about it, it is a pretty bittersweet situation because in the moment it's so hurtful and very confusing actually, but retrospectively, I think that it was the right decision. If they're already treated you like this, if they're treating you like some sort of prize, even before you guys have made things official, you have to think about how they would treat you if you were in an actual relationship. So obviously it hurts in the moment, but I think you kind of dodged a bullet there. This person wants advice on dating apps. They're trying not to get played a ton because so many people act like it's a game. I totally understand what you mean. I actually met my boyfriend. We're living together. We've been dating for 3 years on Tinder, so I know that dating apps can work. I didn't really think they actually would, but before I got to him, I definitely had to deal with a lot of bad apples, and I think for me, I was kind of over it. I was kind of on dating apps to find my partner. I'm not really one to be a part of hookup culture. That's just not my thing because I'm just so emotional. Like, I know, like, if I were to, fool around with someone, I would immediately develop feelings for them, and I think that's not fair to them if I told them that it would be casual and then I start to fall in love with them. And kind of building off of that, I think the amount of times that I've gone played was way too much. So what I did was whenever I would match with someone and then they would message me, we would have our introductions, you know, like a little flirty time. And then I would tell them straight up that I was not looking to hook up and I'm on here to find a partner. And that would really kind of filter people out. And that's very fair because a lot of people use these apps to have a little sexy time, and that's very okay. But for me, I just like, again, I couldn't do that. So I told them, this is it. I'm looking for something more than that. And if you're not interested, then peace out. Have a good life. The people that I would actually talk to long term knew my intentions and we were kind of on the same page. And I think that kind of helped. And I think it just kind of goes in with just being very communicative and respectful to people and their intentions. I think if you say that you want a relationship and they say they just want to hook up, I don't personally think it's fair to kind of be like, oh, like, okay, then we could just hook up and then try to make them fall in love with you because they very clearly told you their intentions in the beginning, and vice versa. I mean, obviously some people's minds can change and every situation is very subjective, but I think for the most part, I think it's really good to just be very flat out because I think on these apps, like, there's not a lot of time to talk before things just get crazy. Okay, this one was really interesting, and they said, I feel so happy and content with my boyfriend, but then I'll look online and see this extravagant displays of love, and I feel like that's what I'm supposed to want or expect. And I definitely felt this. I remember when I was really, really happy with Martin and, you know, like I thought that we were having like a really good time. That was kind of when I got a lot of couples content on my For You pages and on Twitter and everything. And I would see all of these insane dates and gifts. And I would feel like I was lacking something because I wasn't receiving that. And I kind of lashed out on him being like, wow, like, why am I not, you know? And that was completely unfair of me, and I'm really regretful of actually doing that. But I know exactly that kind of weird limbo feeling of being, oh, like I am really happy with my partner, but then I see all these other people getting that, like, is that what a good relationship looks like? And I think it is really important to know that every single relationship is different. But a pattern I have been noticing is that a lot of these couples that do these really extravagant gifts kind of break up soon after. I don't know. I know that sounds horrible, and I know this is not the same for everyone because everyone has different love languages, all of that, different financial statuses and everything. But I think I've seen a lot of TikToks and a lot of girls come out and be like, he did this, and this, and it's very, very extravagant, and then they end it and he still cheated on me. And I think it's more common than you think. When men do a lot of this stuff, sometimes they're compensating for something, okay? Maybe they feel guilty about something and then they're giving their girl all of this stuff, and they don't post all of like the icky stuff. They post, you know, the gifts and all of that. And I think that's something to remember when you're just seeing relationships on social media. We're really only showing the good stuff, I swear. Obviously, it is okay to feel that you want to be spoiled and all of that, but I think at the end of the day, if you're happy and you're content, that's really all you can ask for. What are your thoughts and tips for when people text flirty but not acknowledge you in person? Oh my gosh, this has happened to me a lot. And there were some times where it kind of felt very thrilling because it was like, oh, like this is just in between us, like no one knows. But it also makes you feel really small and kind of like, why are we a secret? And I remember I would think like, are you embarrassed to even talk to me like in a public setting? Like, why is this only between us? Because I know that feeling where you're texting someone till 2 a.m. and you think like it's all like going well, and then you see the next day at school and they act like you don't exist. It's a very, very like, ugh, like icky feeling. Personally, for me, I do not deal with that shit no more. Like, I had gone through that way too many times that I wouldn't let that happen to me again because it just makes me feel so bad, especially since I'm one of those people that I want to be shown off. I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel loved. Maybe it's because I'm a Leo. I don't know. I think if it's really bothering you, it is time to actually have a talk about it. And if they don't want to do that, then I think it is fair to kind of break ties and just not talk to each other anymore. If you're just a late night booty call and you want to be something more and they won't give you that, you gotta respect yourself. You gotta love yourself, guys. We're hotties here, okay? We deserve to be shown off like princesses. Oh my god, a boy is at our sleepover. Gross. Over there. Okay, we have our, oh my god, your head is huge.
It's my hair.
I'm just kidding. I like when your hair is big. I'm just being mean to you. The first question is, do you and Martin ever get into bigger fights? I feel like you guys are a perfect couple. Yeah, we get in a lot of little fights. We get annoyed with each other not pretty frequently, but it happens more often than I think a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Okay, you look like you're loafing. I think it's because earlier on in our relationship, I used to kind of let everything add up and then I would blow up on him. So that's when our like bigger fights would go in, but I feel like that was really exhausting for us. At least it's exhausting for me. And I remember how you would be like, what the hell, girl? Like, where did all this come from? I think it's just something I had to grow up and realize of like, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm letting all of these like kids kind of go on, and I feel like you would know them when I'm annoyed. Yeah. But you can't read my mind. Yeah. Men, even though he has a big head, a small brain.
There's nothing in there.
So I think that's kind of why we get into, kind of regular like arguments. Yeah, because the second I feel annoyed, I will tell him and we'll just communicate that, and I think that's pretty healthy. I think for me, like, it just doesn't boil up anymore. And also kind of going off of the second part of the question and saying, I feel like you guys are such a perfect couple. I think that's just something I kind of wanted to talk about on here too. Just realizing that, I'm like trying to be real with you guys like all the time, but I'm also not trying to air out our dirty laundry on social media. So please don't think that we're a perfect couple.
We're not.
Because I know you mean well by saying that, but also like there is a lot of pressure sometimes. Yeah. And I just want you to know we're not perfect, and that's okay. And I think that makes it better.
Yeah. We're special.
Yeah, I love fighting with you. Okay, I added this one, and it is, what are your ethnicities? Go.
I feel like people usually guess mine, but Filipino.
And I'm Vietnamese, and I added this because there is such a trope, especially in the Asian community, of being like the worst couple ever is always a Viet girl and a Filipino boy.
And we are. The worst.
How do you keep the spark alive after the honeymoon phase? So I'm pretty sure our honeymoon phase ended around a year ago, because I think that's like, I think the 2-year mark, that was when we kind of learned the most about each other.
I mean, we kind of did this when we had dinner a couple times, but just take it back to the basics. Ask like simple questions, because the honeymoon phase it's a different timeline.
You're always in like your rose tinted glasses in the honeymoon phase, so I think just really getting down to like your fundamentals and your morals and all that stuff, and even just like little things.
Ask the same questions I did on a first date, because depending on how long your honeymoon phase is, the answers to those could be different. We asked, what's your favorite color? Like, what animal am I?
Yeah,
and somehow
we were trying to figure out what
deeper
animal.
Conversation.
He thinks that I'm a hamster. And I think, what was it?
A wombat?
A wombat! I thought of this really stupid comparison. Your relationship being kind of like skincare. And you have like a pimple. And that's kind of like being in a fight or like having a little bump in the relationship. And you do everything that you can to get rid of that pimple. So you go on dates and you try to like communicate and figure all of that out. And then the pimple goes away, and then you kind of stop doing your skincare routine. At least that's how it is for me. Like, once my skin is good, then I won't upkeep it, because I'm like, oh, it's good, it will stay good forever. And I think that's kind of the same with a relationship. Like, once you kind of get over one fight, and you're like, okay, now we have resolved everything. And now we never have to keep up with it. And I think then another breakout happens, because you're not constantly, like, nurturing it, if that makes sense. Really stupid.
No, I get it.
Me and my boyfriend just broke up, and it feels like we're still together. How do we end it?
But it still feels like together, so that means that you're still like talking then. And still doing like couple-y stuff. Well, first you need to just have a conversation with yourself. Like, what do I want? Like, do I like low-key still want this thing? Like, do I not? Someone, whether it be you or this other person, like needs to put their foot down and just be like, what are we doing?
Yeah, because I think there's obviously a reason why you guys are separated. In this kind of situation, obviously I don't know all the context, but I think not talking to your ex for a while until you're completely healed is a very, very good idea.
Yeah, take care of yourself first. Me and my ex, we still talked like a little bit, just as friends. It wasn't like, we weren't like saying like romantic or cute shit to each other. And then I don't know who, but eventually someone just sent like that last text, and then that was it. Like it was like we didn't end on bad terms. Like we just kind of fizzled out, I guess. We just kind of both were like, let's not really do this anymore.
But I think that's also one to show that like every single relationship is different. But I think in the way that you phrase this, like you still feel like you're together, so it's insinuating that you guys are still being a little bit romantic, and I think that's when you should cut it off. At least that's my opinion. Okay, that's it.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I'm just kidding.
Bye. Now moving on to kind of self questions. I don't know, like self-improvement, self-love. They said, I grew up ugly, so I let myself be an option. How can I gain more confidence about it? Growing up, feeling so insecure about my physical appearance really affected me. And even after like I've had my little glow up or whatever, the kind of feeling really lingers with you. And I remember really early on in my glow up journey, I don't know, I remember I felt this kind of sense of appreciation that people were finally giving me the attention that I was craving. And I remember because I sort of longed for that validation and reassurance in myself, I started to kind of put people on a pedestal and think that, oh, I was lucky that they are giving me this attention. We live in a society, and the brutal truth is when you're more conventionally attractive, people pay more attention to you and they listen to you and they actually care about you, which is really, really shitty. And especially if you didn't grow up like conventionally attractive. And once you kind of feel both sides, because there's always gonna be that feeling in the back of your head being, wow, they wouldn't even look twice at me like X amount of years ago, and now they're giving me all this attention. And I don't know. In terms of gaining more confidence about it, there's no specific way. I think it just kind of goes in with time and the more people you talk to and the way that you value yourself. And I think it's also important to realize that physical beauty does not equal confidence, because even the most beautiful, gorgeous supermodels out there can be the most insecure people. I think it is really good though, now that you have the clarity of realizing that you let yourself be an option before, and now you can just turn that on its head and know that you're the baddest bitch ever, and anyone would be lucky to have you. Conventionally attractive or not, everyone deserves someone that loves them for who they are, no matter what they look like. I feel like this girl talk is especially unhinged because I do not know what the hell I'm talking about. This is actually the second time I'm filming this video, because the first time I filmed it, it made absolutely no sense at all, and I don't think this one is making sense at all either. This is another question I got a lot, and it is how to deal with feeling behind on teenage experiences, i.e. a first kiss, relationships, parties, etc. I really remember this feeling, and especially when I was 16 years old. I was so young, I was literally a baby, and I felt that time was running out, because again, in all of these teenage movies, like I feel like the age 16 is like peak adulthood. That's when you think your life is like, that's it, and everything's just gonna go down, so you have to have like the perfect high school experience. And I feel like a lot of that consists with, you know, going to the best parties, having the cutest boyfriend. So when I was in high school, the second I could like really dive into these teenage experiences, I really went into the deep end. Any parties my friends wanted to go to, I would go, even if I felt like I didn't really want to go, but I felt again that my time was running out and it was now or never. And I just really regret that, because I really let go of the standards for myself. And even for my first kiss, oh my god, this was actually such a horrific experience. But my first like makeout session was with a guy that I didn't know, and my friend just paired us together, because I remember I was telling her like, oh my god, I can't believe I haven't had my first kiss yet, like I feel so behind. So she literally DMs this like random guy, and it was such a horrible experience because I didn't know this person, and then I was just kissing them, and I remember that I was like kind of excited, right? That, oh, I had my first kiss. Thought I was just checking this box off of this teenage bucket list. And I was wondering like, oh, like why did he even like say yes to this? Like why did he want to be my first kiss? And then they said it's because they've never kissed an Asian before and they wanted to experience it, and that he probably has yellow fever. And that was just that it was honestly traumatizing. So I don't talk about that a lot, but I'm actually going to be talking about that in my TED Talk that I'm doing next month, which is crazy. I'm doing a TED Talk, so maybe I'll link it down below. So the whole moral of the story is don't settle for less. Don't try to rush into all of these things because it's socially, you know, expected of you. It is okay to enjoy your youth and just let the universe have its time and bring you along these experiences the way they're supposed to be, because again, it's not worth rushing it. All right, now it's time for the little TMI questions, because I know this is basically the only reason why a lot of you watch these videos. What to do when he doesn't want to wear a condom, and I'm pretty sure I kind of answered one of these in a past girl talk, but also I made a lot of these, so I totally understand you haven't watched all of them. And first of all, I want to say that they're a very shitty person if you are expressing that you want them to put a rubber on it and they don't want to. Like, that's not okay. I don't care if it feels better when there's no condom on it. Like, they literally, they can shut the hell up, honestly. And I think it really speaks to their personality and the way that they view you if they refuse to do something that would make you more comfortable. Because obviously right now they're valuing their pleasure of like fucking 5 minutes, 5 seconds over your comfort. Because at the end of the day, if you like get pregnant and you don't want to, you're gonna be the one that has to deal with it. And also, it doesn't even have to be because you want them to wear a condom because you don't want to get pregnant. It's because you don't want to get an STI potentially. Like, even that is good enough reason for them to just be like, okay, like I respect your decision. I'll do what you want me to do because this is a consensual relationship. Like, I just like don't understand it at all. That person should feel lucky to even be intimate with you. So I just don't understand why they can't get their head out of their ass. Next up is it normal for a tampon to hurt when you put it in and take it out even after 7 hours? Okay, so I think something with this is just to make sure that you have the right tampon like absorbency level, because you know how there's super plus, super regular, and light and all that. You have to make sure that you know how much blood is coming out and making sure that it doesn't go out dry. Okay, there's nothing worse than taking out dry tampon, because that shit is scraping your vagina and it hurts so bad. And I remember I used to do this all the time because I was stupid. And I remember like literally like day 4 I would have a kind of normal flow going on, but then I'd be too lazy to take out my tampon. I would put in a really heavy absorbency one so that I could just take it out at the end of the day. Fully risking myself for TSS, by the way, just because I was lazy. Then I would take it out and obviously there wouldn't be enough blood, and I remember I would just scrape the hell out of my vagina. I don't do that anymore. But also, if you're putting it in if it hurts, and if you're using a super plus and you only need a regular, like that regular is way thinner, girl. I think maybe using lube or, you know, like getting some moisture going on in there will help it slip in a little better. So yeah, I think it just takes practice. Just make sure you're relaxing and it will get in there. I want to lose my virginity and just get it over with, to be honest, but I want a real relationship. Should I just hook up? This kind of relates to my first kiss story, and I would say that wait until you are very comfortable with that person and not just getting it over with just to get it over with. I don't know. Everyone has their own opinions with all of this. But for me, and the way that you added, but I want a real relationship, I think it's because like it's been this long. I think it's okay to wait a little longer to be with that special someone, because I know when I settle, I feel disappointed in myself afterwards. It is such a vulnerable experience, especially when it is your first time. So I think for me, I was really happy that it was with someone that I trusted and knew wouldn't hurt me. So yeah, that's my kind of 2 cents. Thank you so much for watching this little girl talk video. Did you have fun? Did you like listening to me talk? I think she's so annoyed with me because I've been talking for so long. But I really, really love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for all the love for this little series or just for my channel in general. It means so much. And I'm so happy to be one of the creators that can help you feel less alone or kind of give advice, even if it's not that great of advice. I'm out here doing my best. But yeah, I love you so much and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
C'est l'histoire d'une fille pas trop compliquée pour une fois.